Hey guys, Brady from Kegland, and we just wanted to get in touch to announce our brand new Fresh³ Fresh Work kits. So you will have seen that some of these were offline for quite some time, and the reason being is we've been tweaking the recipes to get them absolutely perfect, and we now have co-conspirators on board making these Fresh Work kits for us. So they're an award-winning craft brewery out in Brunswick in Melbourne, and it's meant that the quality of these kits is phenomenal. What's been really handy is as we've been tweaking these kits and tweaking the recipes to get what we want, having that fountain of knowledge, so Dion down at Co-Conspirators to say, actually guys, I think you might be better off doing this, or we could tweak this slightly, this works better on a commercial system. Having that knowledge from a award-winning craft brewer is just perfect for these kits, and able to deliver the best quality craft fresh work kits to you guys, so that you guys can enjoy brewery, like award-winning brewery quality beer at home with a super easy kit. And we're gonna go through and ferment some of these bad boys. So we've got the XPAs down the bottom, and crushing it XPA has been a wildly big seller. So we've actually had such high demand for that hop since it came in from the hop breeding projects, and there's no reason why not, because it has been killer. It punches out pineapple flavors, and it's an awesome, awesome hop. It's also paired with some New Zealand hops. You've got Superdelic and also Nectaron in that one as well. And then we've got Topaz as well, Topaz XPA. So again, another beautiful hop that we wanted to showcase here on this one. For those of you that don't have fermentation or temperature control, we've actually introduced a hot XPA, which essentially means you don't have to worry about having those super consistent temperatures like 19 or 20 degrees. You're going to be fermenting these. This one you can let ride up to 35 degrees. It's got a Kvike Voss strain in there, so yeah, you're going to get those orange aromas as well as some super good hop aromas as well that will complement those esters that you're going to get from that strain. But yeah, perfect for those of you that don't have temp control. And then those of you that have got temp control, we've also introduced a cold XPA as well. So that one comes with a Mexican lager strain. So yeah, most of you probably haven't heard of the cold XPA as a style. It uses an XPA base, but as I say, the Mexican lager strain, which makes it super crushable, super clean, super crisp. So it'll be perfect for those summer days. So yeah, if you've got fermentation, temp control, yeah, definitely use that one. Ferment on the cold side, and you're gonna get an amazing cold XPA on that one. The stouts, these have just been rejigged. So as I say, we just touched up the recipe on these ones to make sure that they were perfectly tuned, and visually they're black as anything. So visually they're perfect, and the amount of roastiness that you've got is in the perfect balance on those ones. If you do want something a bit sweeter, obviously we've got the milk stout as well here for you. And then on your IPAs, we have gone kind of old school. So we've hit up the IBUs on these ones and got some perfect old school hops. You've got Simcoe, Centennial, Cascade, all featuring throughout these ones. So yeah, these IPAs, we've actually been struggling. The guys, when we first put these on tap in the staff room, I don't think there was a single guy in the office that didn't take home a 4-pack of the IPA and the double IPA. So these ones are really, really killer. So we've also got Sesh Kremlin, which is, Ollie went to town on the naming of this one. So that's just your session IPA. So as I say, you've got this one, which is about 8.4%. This one, and then you've got a more sessionable one down here, around about 6. I'll double check those figures as well for you. And obviously, as you'll see from the title of the video, what we want to do is actually do a little experiment here. So me and Kee have been in a bit of a dispute for some time about hop rousing. And I want to actually put it to the test and see exactly what hop rousing does for your beer. So let's have a look. We're going to put it to the test about whether rousing your hops during fermentation actually makes any difference. So it's a dispute me and Kee have had for a while, and we know it's done a lot on the commercial scale, and we're just wondering how much of a difference it makes to the final product, whether you can tell the difference at the end, and whether it's worth doing at home. To be honest, these, obviously other PET fermenters on the market, you can't easily rouse hops. So this makes it perfect to be able to do that, because you can just plop on with one of these disconnects here and push CO2 up, and you literally get all your hops roused straight back in suspension. You see them bubbling around, and I think it makes a difference. but we'll find out. So just before as well, I thought we'd just mention these little things here. So you'll notice this one's got a smiley face on it. The ones in stock don't have a smiley face, but the yellow ends on these are weighted. So we know that a lot of people were always thinking that they needed to put this on a certain area, or they needed to put a stainless steel nut in the end of here. This takes the problem away now, so for a couple of dollars you can replace your filter. All new kits come with these ones as standard as well, so these ones are all in circulation, so it'll always stay below the liquid line, so you won't have to worry about pulling up air when you're doing transfers or anything like that. So it's just a small weight. If you've got a yellow face on it, you're good to go. If not, I say it costs $3, so yeah, just get a new one. If you've had issues, personally I've very rarely had issues with it, but we know that some people do, so check them out. So these ones have already got those yellow filters attached, those weighted filters, so we don't need to change them. I just put them onto the old hose that I already had for these fermenters, so they're ready to go. And we're gonna test whether rousing hops actually makes a difference on the homebrew scale. So we've got this Crushing It XPA to test out, which we're gonna stick in these, so we should be able to keep the staff room fridge filled for a little while. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on 2 exactly the same fermenters, and then we'll just treat them differently after the dry hop. So everything will be the same to start with. And for those of you that haven't made fresh work kits before, we'll just do a quick run through because it's super easy, and the quality compared to extract beers is unmatched. As I said, these are made by a commercial craft brewery, an award-winning craft brewery with co-conspirators. So the beer that comes out of these kits is phenomenal. So what we're going to do is I've already cleaned and sanitized both of these fermenters. So there's nothing inside these. I've just backfilled them now with 5 litres of water, because that's what this recipe asks for. So it's 15 litres inside the bladder on this one, and then 5 litres of potable water inside as well. You might see a few bubbles. That's just from the Stella sand that I put in there, but it's a great nutrient anyway, so don't worry about that too much. But yeah, we'll just get these 2 kits on. I'll put the liquid in, and I'll tell you how we're going to differ it up after this so that you can see what we're going to do and see if Kee can spot the difference between the beers. Okay, let's do it. So as I say, I've got my fermenter here. So this is the FermZilla All-Rounder. It's probably our most popular, it's definitely our most popular pressure fermenter. So it's really versatile. It's really easy to clean because there's no edges or anything anywhere. So we've got 5 litres of clean water in there. And we're going to treat this almost like you do with an extract kit. You're just pouring it in essentially. You just don't need to heat anything up because this has not been concentrated. So you're just going to pull it out the bladder, pour it straight in. We've already got our water in there, and then we can pitch our yeast. So we're just going to pull this one out. So with these fresh work kits, what you want to do is just take the cap off here. So that's just a screw cap that you have on there. And then what I like to do is just make sure you sanitize everything that's going to be touching the beer. So just make sure you clean that, clean your hand as well, just because you're going to be pulling that cap off. And then there's a little ring pull just inside here. So you're just going to, pop that baby out of there and then just dump it straight in. So we've got the Tri-Conical, and we're just going to do the exact same thing. Stick that in my sanitizer. Normally what we're going to do is we're going to pitch our yeast. Now these fresh work kits, if it's a lager or a stout or something like that, you literally, that's the end of it. Once you've pitched your yeast, and then it's just about managing that fermentation and then packaging it, whether you're kegging or bottling or whatever you're doing. That'd be the end of it. These ones do have a dry hop as well. So we're gonna come back, and that's where the difference is gonna happen between these 2 recipes. So we're just gonna sprinkle this one on top. You don't need to rehydrate. Even Lallemand are now advising against rehydrating because the benefits of rehydrating are outweighed by the risks of like infection and things. So that's one done. So that's it, guys. These ones have been pitched. We're going to get these into a chamber. So they're going to go into their own chamber each, fermenting around about 18 to 19 degrees for the first few days until we've got over that mass fermentation phase where we've got rapid reproduction from the yeast. And then once we start to go down in terms of velocity, so once we've got fewer points per day dropping, we're going to crank up the temperature a little bit because we're avoiding like any nasty esters after that point, really. And then we'll soft crash. Once we've got to 0 points per day for 2 days, we'll soft crash to 14, and that's where we're going to dry hop. And that's where you'll see me in a moment. So we're back and it's been just over a week, and as you can see we've had a pretty ferocious ferment on these ones. So Verdant is known for fermenting pretty ferociously, and as you can see the Rousing got to the top of both of these fermenters and it also went out the spunding valve. But we managed to clean it up, so it's a good idea to keep an eye on that. Sometimes if you are rising a bit too high, just pop a little bit of pressure on there and that'll keep that Rousing down, so it's a bit more manageable. But yeah, so these two have both reached their FG, so they're no longer fermenting, so they stabilized over the last day or so. And what I've done now is I started to soft crash these. So these crashed down to 14 degrees yesterday, which is the temperature I generally like to ferment, dry hop at. It stops any hop creep and things like that. And I also think at 14 degrees with around about 48 hours of contact time, that's where I really love it, especially on these hop forward beers, where I'm wanting to get them really citrus and fresh flavors from. I don't want too much contact time. So we've got some great dry hops going in these ones. So we've got 75 grams of crush, which is the new hop from the US. We've got 50 grams of Superdelic and 50 grams of Nectaron going in each of these. So this is where we're gonna differentiate the little experiment to see if Kee can pick up which one is different. So we're gonna just do a standard dry hop on this one, and then this one we're actually gonna rouse the hop. So the awesome thing about the Tri-Clover, it's the only conical, well, or like the brew built as well, which we also stock, is that you've got this collection jar. So this FermZilla collection jar allows you to put carbonation caps on here where you can push CO2 right up back into the fermenter. So you could dump off this yeast. I'm not going to, because it's only going to be in there for 48 hours, so it's not really going to have much impact on the flavor of the beer. But we're going to push that all back up into suspension along with those hops and get everything really pumping in there. So yeah, let's get the dry hop out. Oh, these are smelling good. Yeah, so like I said, we've got Crush, Superdelic, and Nectaron in these ones. So you've got those New Zealand hops, which still deliver that zestiness and a lot of those tropical fruits in these newer type of New Zealand hops as well. And then we've got Crush, which just delivers, for me, just heaps and heaps of pineapple. And honestly, I love it. So what we're going to do is we're going to dry hop each of these and we'll purge the headspace as well. So we'll just use a bit of CO2 to do that, just essentially pop the lids off, purge the headspace, drop the hops in, purge the headspace after we do it, and just purge that a few times. Obviously, it's a lot easier if you've got a hop bong. Just stick a hop bong on there and you've not got to worry about oxygen ingress in those anyway. So we just pop the lid back on and then, keeping everything pretty still, I just crank a bit of CO2 in there just to be able to purge that out. That should be about good for that one, and we're just going to do the same on this one as well. Just release the pressure, then I'll let build up just while to a soft crashing. And pop the lid off that one as well. And then you've got a few options here. You can either start going straight from the bottom. I still like to purge the headspace a bit. Just pop that one on there. So this is where the Tri-Clover Conical kind of does better than most other pressure fermenters on the market, is because you've got these carbonation caps here, so you can push air, well, you can push oxygen through if you want to oxygenate your wort. Obviously, we don't want to do that now because we've already finished fermenting. But what I love about it is it allows you to just connect your gas line just for a standard disconnect straight into the bottom and essentially rouse those hops. So hop rousing is really, really common and important in commercial brewing. So we just want to see if it's really going to make a big difference on the homebrew scale. So generally people say that they rouse. I normally do it twice a day. So if I'm fermenting at work, I'll do it once I get in the morning and before I go home at 5 o'clock. So that's generally what they do commercially as well. They do it every 12 hours or so. So yeah, we'll just give this a blast now and rouse some of those hops. One important thing to remember is always make sure that you've degassed the top first. You're going to want to make sure that you've got more pressure on your gas line than in your vessel. Otherwise, you're going to have beer going straight back into your regulator, especially if you've not got a check valve in there. So we're just going to spray this one with a bit of sanitizer. And then we are just going to push this one straight in there. So there we go. Look at the hops just kind of get obliterated in there, and pull this off again. So that's it. So that's how I rouse my hops. As you can see, these ones are all fully in suspension now. So they're all kind of obliterated almost. Whereas these ones are still pretty much floating on the surface. So I'm going to try and not shake it up too much, taking it back, so we can get a true reflection of what it's going to be like. But this is why I love the TC with the carbonation caps on here. So that's my ideal way to rouse hops. So I'm excited to see if Kee's going to be able to see the difference when you join us back. So I'll continue doing that twice a day for the next 2 days, and then we'll cold crash. And yeah, we'll see what Kee thinks of the brew. So we're back and we've got the finished beers. These are all carbonated and kegged up. So we've got the hop roused one on this side and the non-roused one on this side. So you can actually see a bit of a difference right away from the color of them. So this one's definitely more clear. So it's crystal clear pretty much. And this one, it's not super hazy, but it's got a bit of a haze on there. I think it's probably my fault. I probably knocked up a bit of the yeast into suspension whilst I was transferring. But yeah, let's see if we can spot the difference. So obviously clarity's not there, but we'll see if we can get the difference on the on the aroma and the taste. Okay. So regardless, these two beers smell fantastic. And honestly, this beer features crush so well. And I think crush is like one of my new favorite hops. You get so much pineapple coming through on here. And regardless of which beer it is, they smell fantastic. So you've got like overripe fruit, tropical fruits, but it's just pineapple jumping out at you. I think I'm getting a lot more pineapple, distinctly a lot more pineapple, and just hop aromas in general from the hop roused one, which is kind of what I expected. Like I say, they both smell great, but this one's just climbing out of the glass a lot more. Let's give them a taste. It's a good beer. Yeah, okay. So I'm getting a lot more of that hop oiliness as well in this one. So it kind of like the hop flavor kind of coats your tongue and clings there. Whereas this one's just a little bit more muted. Look, I think I will continue to hop rouse. But the issue is I'm slightly biased because I've had this dispute with Kee for quite some time that I reckon hop rousing is definitely a winner. So let's get a hop rousing skeptic in here to try out the beers and see what he thinks between the two. All right, I'll go and get him. So Kee's here, our rousing skeptic. And Kee, I want to know what you think.
Okay, alrighty.
So I'm not going to tell him which one's which. And
yeah, there's some nice hop aroma.
I think regardless, we can say they're a good beer.
Yeah, the aroma definitely is really nice on both of these. They're not quite the same. So it's obviously same base recipe we're talking about here.
Same base. These are XPA base,
yeah.
fresh cubed XPA base. And they've been dry hop with Crush, Superdelic, and Nectron.
What a great lineup. Yeah, a lot of that sort of fruity aroma is coming through, and I could even say touch of piney as well, but in there. But I'd say definitely when I'm comparing just the aromatics firstly of these two, the one on the right has a distinct amount more hop aroma, I would say, for sure. When it comes down to the actual, I guess the quality aroma, I would say the one on the left here has ever so slightly fresher notes on it. So for me, I would say definitely that we've got more hop extraction on this one, but like slightly fresher notes. But certainly we definitely got more hop on this right hand sample. So
interesting.
Flavor-wise, extremely similar. I would say almost, if you're trying to put the aroma aside and just tasting the flavor, almost like not really noticeable.
Yep.
Only when you're getting that aroma, which is the main thing. For this one on here, I get ever so slight, just those slight grassy notes of those hops decomposing, which is weird because they're both, to my understanding, they've been
same contact,
same contact time.
Yep.
Look, my only criticism with these, look, they're amazing beers. The beers taste sensational, but I would say maybe the hop addition schedule could be compressed to limit the time the hops are in the fermenter in general would probably be my only point. And if that was done, possibly the one on the right with that high levels of extraction would be better, in my opinion.
So you pretty much bang, that's the one that we expected to get more hop utilization out of.
Yep.
So that's the roused one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So you reckon with the rousing, we can then maybe compress that schedule a little?
Yeah. Like if that's the case, I would probably say the roused is probably a better process, but it's probably a good idea to maybe speed the schedule up. So what was the timing of the hop additions for the roused hops?
So they were all dry hopped at 15.
Yep.
14 degrees, and then and then I started dropping straight down to 10.
Yep.
On that first day, and then they started cold crashing for 2 days, and then we did leave it over the weekend, just because it was obviously not business hours.
Yep.
So it did stay in the fermenter a little bit longer than I would have hoped to anyway, because normally after that 2 days at cold, I'm transferring straight out.
Yeah, well, it's probably fair to say the rousing extracts more hop. I mean, look, it's probably commercially why they do it. I don't do that myself, but the one thing I probably would say is that schedule, compressed by a few days to limit the amount of time the hops are in the fermenter. But it is certainly interesting because I actually didn't think that rousing would make a difference to getting those decomposed notes out of the hop. But that obviously, getting more extraction, but you can possibly get more.
Because you're extracting too much, essentially. Yeah, okay.
Once the hops have been sat in the fermenter for longer. So I'd probably say, look, maybe I'd say rousing is a good idea, but limit the hops in the fermenter to a couple of days, I reckon.
So make sure that you're going to be there to be able to transfer it out.
Yeah, transfer it out, exactly. So line you could probably sit in there fermenter happily, until you got those few days lined up, where you can chuck it in there, rouse, get it out of the fermenter. That would probably be, I think that's probably the lesson learned. And
Kee, you're a busy guy, so you're probably not going to be hop rousing anytime soon.
Well,
I've got time to get it out.
For me, I just get more hops, just chuck more in there. So you can, if you're, back in my uni days where I was a bit more thrifty, I'd probably do more rousing and extract more from the hops that I've got.
Yep.
But these days I'm pretty lazy. I just chuck more in, and then I lose more hops because of the wastage in the fermenter, but then I just brew more. So it's about 100 litre Brazil. So a bit more wasteful. But yeah, certainly, look, I think efficiencies are important, and where you can save material, you should do that. So
which is likely why commercial venues are doing it, to essentially get more bang for their buck. But yeah, what are you guys going to be doing? Are you guys going to be getting the Tri-Conical and dry hopping and then rousing during that dry hop? I'd say maybe experiment with how long your contact time is after that point. And yeah, let us know what you think, if you think rousing, if it's something you already do or it's something you're going to add to your process. I certainly will carry on doing it. I think it's definitely worth it. But yeah, maybe like you say, we compress that schedule a little bit. But what about these Fresh³ kits from Co-Conspirators?
Crush and Superdelic. Awesome. Since Co-Conspirators have been doing those Fresh³ kits, they are smashing it to bits. I have been so happy that those guys have been doing the kits. The quality's been sensational.
And I think we can tell because the kegerator in the in the Kegland kitchen is now just full of Fresh³ kits.
Yeah, I know. I'm now taking too many shortcuts. I got to get back into brewing because all these Fresh³ kits have been so prevalent throughout the office with testing them all. But yeah, they're doing a kick-ass job for sure. Yeah, they are. Guys, check them out. Check out the new XPA range, the new IPA range, and the new stouts as well that we've got on there. And why not get a Tri-Conical and try out Hop Rousing whilst you're at it? Yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And don't forget to like and subscribe and join our Facebook community page. Always good chats going on there about controversial topics like hop rousing and getting most utilization. Similar probably to what we have here in the office. But yeah, thanks for coming in, Kee. Yeah, no worries. Awesome.
Right. Yeah, cheers, guys.
Yeah, good experiment.
Cheers.
Awesome.